hereby summon all my imps. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. Now it's time to talk about Hunter. We're doing all 11 classes today. We're down to Hunter already. We're going with 0 being the least powerful card in the set, and 1 being the most powerful card in the set. And Hunter got kind of this weird little hodgepodge of stuff. So, believe it or not, one of the worst cards in Hunter right now, with this coming out in the next set, is going to be the legendary, the Blightwing. The Blightwing is a 3-mana, 3/4. This is give all arcane spells in your deck spell damage +1. And I'm sure you're sitting there going, well, that sounds like a ridiculously good card to give every single spell that's still in your deck +1 spell damage that's arcane. But other than this particular set and the cards that you're getting in this particular set, there is a 1 and only 1 arcane spell in the entire Hearthstone world so far that's not in this set. And that's the Arcane Shot. You can go standard, you can go wild. There's only 1 other arcane spell in here than what's coming out in this particular set. And with this particular set, you're really not gaining too many more arcane spells. The other arcane spells that you're getting is Arcane Quiver, Conjured Arrow, Eversong Portal, and Ricochet Shot. And it doesn't count towards the Arcane Quiver because Arcane Quiver doesn't actually do any kind of damage. It just is an arcane spell. So, you're throwing a card in here that has basically nothing to target. It's so weird that they threw this card in here, but there's really nothing to target. And what makes it worse is it's a legendary. So that brings us to number 9, which is the Arcane Quiver. Arcane Quiver is a 2-mana arcane spell that discovers a spell from your deck. If it's arcane, give it spell damage +1. Again, there's not arcane spells to find. I mean, you can find Arcane Quiver again if you want to, but it doesn't help Arcane Quiver because Arcane Quiver doesn't do damage. You can find Conjuring Arrow, Eversong Portal, Ricochet Shot, or Arcane Shot. Those are the spells that you can find. That's it. That's all that exists. You know, there's only 1 spell in there that's even helped by that. We'll talk about that in a little bit here, but that's, weird to do that. You get to discover a spell from your deck, but the chances of being arcane are slim to none. So at least right now, I don't see why it has any kind of power to it. Next up for us is number 8. Number 8 for us is the Ricochet Shot. The problem with the Ricochet Shot is every single problem that I've already said before. It's an arcane spell. There's really no good way to throw extra damage on this. It deals 1 damage to 3 random enemy minions. At this particular point, I don't know if it'll do 3 damage if you don't have any minions on your opponent's side of the field, or if it'll just do 1 and stop. If it does 3, that's fine. If it does 1 and then stops, that's not that great. If you're using this like the old arcane missiles, they used to be in Mage. That's fine, If this works exactly like Arcane Missiles does, it's not bad. But even Arcane Missiles, had, sometimes where it really helped, and it had sometimes where it really hurt, because sometimes it would go straight to face, And sometimes it would just like take down one thing that had like 12 health on it, one thing that had 12 health on it, and like one to face, and you would sit there and go, oh, that really didn't help anything. So, another really weird arcane spell at this particular point. Which brings us to number 7. Number 7 is the Silver Moon Fast Strider. Silver Moon Fast Strider is a 2-mana 2/3 that has Battle Cry. Give all arcane spells in your hand, spell damage +1. Same issue that has worked with everything else before. Not a ton of arcane spells to grab. The likelihood that you'll have an arcane spell in your hand is slim to none because there's not many even to have. Giving even if you have all of them in your hand, there's very few of them that get any kind of real bonus off of getting this spell damage. Which brings us to number 6. Now, number 6, we kind of break off from the arcane ability to the weapon side of it. With the Canine Spotter. Canine Spotter is a 3-mana 3/4, and whenever your hero attacks a minion, set its health to 1. Here's the problem with this one. If you were to go into Hunter, there are currently 1, 2, 3, 4 weapons in the set right now that are coming out in this particular set. I mean, there is a 5th technical weapon, but nobody's using Leatherworking Kit as an actual weapon. And yes, you can get some stuff off the spirits, because one of the spirits can make you a weapon. But there's really not enough weapons to justify this. The weapon that you're basically hoping for at this particular point to have in your hand, believe it or not, is Candle Shot. You're using this to hope to do Candle Shot. And even if you have Candle Shot in your hand, as soon as you play this down and play the Candle Shot for 4, you're going to kill off one minion, and then they're just going to kill this. So it's a really weird thing that they didn't put a lot of weapons into here to help you out. But they have stuff that's weapon-based. Which brings us to the next card here, which is going to be number 5. Which brings us back to the spell damage problem again. This is Eversong Portal. Eversong Portal is a 4-mana arcane spell that says summon a 1/1 Lynx with Rush, improved by spell damage. Now, well, I was told and I was informed that if you do the spell damage on this, you get 2 4/4 Lynx, and then 3 4/4 Lynx, and then 4/4 Lynx. So if you can get any kind of spell damage on this, this is good on 4. Problem is, again, there's very few ways to get spell damage onto this. So you give us an arcane spell that's at least semi-good, but you have very few ways of making it buffed up. Which brings us to card number 3. So now that we've gotten through all the cards that really don't have a lot going in with them, we bring in to card number 3, which is the Tamer. The Scourge Tamer is a 2-mana 2/2 that says Battle Cry, craft a custom zombies. Zombies are just good. You can basically try to figure out exactly what you need for either that situation right now with the mana that you have left, or you can figure out a creature later down the road that's going to help you out. All the zombies are going to be undead and beasts going forward. And again, the fact that you have kind of this ability to figure out the situation that you're in right now, if you have good mana, or to make a card that's good for further down the road, makes this card really a unique card. And your opponent's not going to ever know what you're making off the zombies. And that's going to be something that's just going to come out and shock them and surprise them. And zombies are just scary all in general. Next up for us is number 2, which is our silver, which is the Hope. The Hope is a 6 mana 4/2 weapon. This is after your hero attacks, give your minions +1/+1 wherever they are. This card is basically buffing up everything that's in your hand, on your board, in your deck. The only problem with this particular card, and the only thing that really brings this down, is the fact that it's 6 mana. By the time you're hitting turn 6, you're at the point where you start to have something, you're getting into like win territory. This is something that you want to be doing early game, not late game. And 6 sadly is late game already. And that brings us to the number 1 card in Hunter, which was not hard to do because they didn't have much to contend with, which is the Conjurer's Arrow. Conjurer's Arrow is a 2 mana arcane spell that says deal 2 damage to a minion. Mana thirst 6, which means that if you have 6 mana crystals, you don't have to have them unlocked. You can only have 2 mana left as long as you actually have all 6 mana crystals. So you can be on turn 6, play a 4, and then play this. You will draw that many cards. So Hunter needs draw. Hunter wants draw. Hunter doesn't care how it gets draw. Dealing 2 damage to a minion to draw 2 cards is ridiculously good for them. You're basically talking about an arcane intellect here for 2. And that's on the worst case scenario. The only thing that is that it has to hit a minion. If you ever get this buffed up, you can draw 3, you can draw 4. Now you have to be on turn 6 to do that, so to get the actual drawing of cards. But turn 6 is usually when Hunter, if they're an aggressive Hunter, is out of cards anyways. And before turn 6, they're doing other things. Those are the cards for Hunter. They got kind of a weird bag of stuff because it seems like they didn't get enough arcane to justify the arcane, and it doesn't seem like they got enough weapon to justify the weapon. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember, play for fun.